It is the next day after I have already made these cookies. But today we are going to be making Copycat cookies and cream milkshake Crumbl cookies. If you haven't been to Crumbl Cookies, I suggest you go. They have really excellent cookies. My husband and I really prefer their chocolate-based ones versus like their chocolate chip. The chocolate ones they're really spectacular. The chocolate chip ones are just okay. But this is mine and my husband's favorite Crumbl cookie. And they had it just a couple weeks ago and we got one and it's spectacular, and I wanted to recreate it at home to share it with you all. So this is a delicious cookie recipe. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is take some Oreos, and you're going to take about 20 of them, and you're going to chop those up pretty small. And you want to be sure that the Oreos that you get are just the regular ones. You don't want like double stuffed or mega stuffed, or, you know, I mean, like maybe you do, but I think the regular ones do the best. Because you want the Oreo cookie part and not necessarily all of the stuffing. But I did leave the stuffing in, just because that's the best part of an Oreo, if you ask me. But you want to just chop this up pretty small, because you're going to be mixing this in with your cookie dough, and you don't want any like big hunks of Oreo. Couldn't figure out why my table was shaking so bad, but it's because one leg was on the rug and the others were not. Also, I'm sitting outside. It was so nice I couldn't edit this video inside, so if you hear the wind blowing, that's what it is. If you didn't want to chop these cookies up, you could also just like put them in a bag and like smash them with a rolling pin. That probably would have been easier and less messy, if you wanted to go that route versus actually chopping them. But either way, as long as the cookies get into pretty small pieces, doesn't really matter how you get there. So once you get everything chopped up, you want to just put them in a bowl or in a bag, or, you know, in some container, and set them aside. Okay, so in your mixing bowl, you're going to add 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks, and 1 1/4 cups of sugar. You want the butter to be room temperature so that you can cream the butter and the sugar together. And my mixer and my bowl and everything is too big, so I just kind of did the mixing part off camera. So once you get those creamed together, then you're going to add some vanilla extract and 2 eggs, and then you're going to give that a mix. And then once that is mixed up, you're going to start adding your dry ingredients. So 3 cups of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to add baking powder and baking soda. So 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And you need all of that extra stuff because these cookies are fairly large. These cookies are fairly large, and they just need that extra help. Okay, so once you have that all mixed up, it'll resemble like an actual cookie dough. Then you want to add your chopped Oreos, and you want to add 1 cup of white chocolate chips. And then you want to line your baking tray. And to scoop these cookies out, if you want them to be true Crumbl cookie size, you need to use a 1/4 cup measuring cup to scoop out the dough. I think it's fun to have a gigantic cookie like this. So I would recommend doing this. But if you don't want to, you could use a regular cookie scoop and make them a regular size. You would just need to adjust your cooking time. So I only made 4, and then I put the rest of the dough in a containers to put in the freezer, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But these cookies are great because they'll keep in the freezer for a couple months, and you can just kind of scoop them out whenever you want to have 1 or 2. So you just want to roll them into a ball, and then I took the back of my measuring scoop and I pressed them down just a little bit, just to kind of help them spread just a little. And then you're going to bake those at 375 for 7 to 10 minutes. And while they're baking, we're going to make an icing for the top. And I got interrupted in the middle of this, so the footage is not good. But basically, you're going to whisk together a stick of butter, 2 cups of powdered sugar, vanilla, and some heavy cream. And I also added some white chocolate syrup to mine, but that's optional. Okay, so the cookies are done, I think. They're out of the oven. I only made 4, and so what's great about doing this recipe is that you can put the cookie dough in a container and put it in your freezer, and then you can just scoop out 1 or 2 cookies at a time whenever you want to make some. So they look pretty good. They don't look quite the same as the Crumbl cookies. The Crumbl cookies have more, it's almost like the Oreos are their own dough, and they're kind of like veined and like marbled in the cookies, but they smell really good. So they have cooled off enough, but we're gonna put some icing on them and then we're gonna taste them. Okay, so you can see the icing is it's just like any regular icing. You just need to mix those things together. And then I took a cookie and I broke it up, crumbled it on top, and they were amazing. This is one of the best cookies I think I've ever made. I really hope you try this recipe. If you want to see more recipes, be sure to check out Loaves and Dishes, and thanks for watching.